Welcome back, and today we are flying out the British Gripen. The British Gripen is probably the best top tier edition that this nation has gotten in a very long while, and it's very much long overdue. Now it's also in other nations, but I'm not really gonna complain. I'm just glad that Britain finally got something. It has 20 more large caliber flares. Other than that, it's identical to the Swedish one, but the Gripens have been nerfed already, and I did get 100 kills in it again just to kind of see how it flies now. And I don't really have any issues with it. Yes, it's quite a bit worse, but the strengths still apply. Nothing really changed in terms of the playstyle. It's just a lot less brain dead and I think a lot more fair. It's mostly about the top speed, because the drag has been increased, as well as the speed loss when it comes to maneuvers. So now once you get below like 800-ish, you will definitely start noticing that you lose a lot of speed very quickly. And that you need to start working quite hard to get it all back. It's still pretty damn maneuverable. And as you will see in this dogfight with the F-16 over here, we are of course pre-flaring so that the AIM-9M won't get a very solid lock. And we basically instantly turn within his turning circle. We get on the 6, he tries the energy trap, we launch the missile at him, and he goes back to the hangar. Now you can tell that our speed is quite low, so we are going to dive back to the deck because there is an F-15 coming in. I'm going to go in a little bit of an off angle, give myself a little bit more room, space and ability to notch him. Once you start getting close enough, we pull in and we beautiful reversal. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture it. The Gripen is now a plane that you have to fly rather cautiously. It's still pretty damn brain dead and probably the easiest time I've had in top tier in a while, and that's simply because you have so many damn countermeasures. Notching, as you saw right there, is a lot easier, especially with chaff now. And defensively, this thing is extremely strong. The issue starts arising once you start getting multiple people at the same time in the mix. AIM-9Ms are of course still absolutely lethal, especially at lower speeds. MiG-23 MLA back to the hangar, and we go straight back into the next game. And this is one of the games where I want you to take a look at the background footage. There's not really much to talk about. I just want you to be aware that you kind of have to keep your speed and navigate your way around the battlefield. And because you have so many flares or countermeasures in general, this is pretty easy, and it's very simple to just kind of scoot around the map and wait for them to dump all their missiles on you until finally you get a bit of an angle and you are able to do something. Now you do want to be a little bit careful with this, and I'll show you in a clip after this one exactly why that is. Running out of speed in this thing is a death sentence, and it is in a lot of vehicles. However, with the drag changes, it's not very good at getting the speed back very effectively, especially if you have to maneuver at all. If you can just straight line it, it is kind of okay, it's doable. But if you keep getting pressured, you will find yourself just going absolute nowhere because you're just not able to really regain your positioning. But again, we'll get to that in a second here. What I have for you today is some of my highlights. I just gotten about 100 kills in the thing again. Had some pretty good games, had some pretty mediocre games. Overall, we won basically everything because we are facing the American teams every game. So it was very, very easy. Only lost 2 matches in the end. And that is not because I was hard carrying, other than about half the gameplay that I'm gonna be showing you today. But let's take a look at the actual footage at hand and see what we can do and can't do. So again, I'm gonna be flying into this massive furball. And overall, I'm just kind of uncontested. I'm coming in from a weird angle and I can kind of just come in and shoot all my missiles. And then the JAS39C appears. It's the Swedish one, but it's the carbon copy. So I just want to try to get this guy off my 6. And once you are in this position, you are going to struggle a little bit. And I'm just trying to keep my speed up to get away from him. I'm hoping that he's air braking. I'm hoping to just kind of dive out, fly away from him again. But I very quickly start noticing that he's probably out of missiles, because he starts catching me very, very fast, and he's also just not really shooting any at all. I dove out, I was faster, and he starts catching me almost instantly. So for now, I'm just gonna try to stall for as much as possible and see what I can do. The JAS39 on my 6 here is probably also running less fuel than me, so I'm in a little bit of a tough spot. And I can deal with one of them as long as I merge correctly and I make him overshoot. However, there's also an F-16 next to him, and he will single-handedly already out dogfight me. So he starts catching me very, very quickly, and I can wait until he's like 0.6 in my bumhole, but I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna try to slow down a little bit. I'm gonna try to stay out of his nose and then I go back to going defensive. He starts air braking quite hard. He starts going up. Thank you for the popping the smoke there. And we're just trying to stay underneath him. And then I notice he turns the other way, and I'm simply gonna fly away again. Because right now I'm in a very bad spot. I'm going super slow, and another F-15 starts coming in. Now I am kind of betting on the other Gripen running very low fuel, and that's why he's catching me. And I'm about to run into the 10-minute mark, hoping that he is gonna run out. F-14 comes in, and now I'm forced to turn, otherwise I'm getting too many people too closely on my 6. The Gripen disengages, potentially because of fuel, I don't care why. He catches an AIM-9M, and I need to disengage. I'm going too slow, I'm too boxed in, and there's really no ability for me here to actually do anything. And then the EJ comes in, and the EJ just instantly eats shit, and he can't really help it. He gave me room and time to get my speed back up. So this guy over here single-handedly, I'm not sure if he won us the game, but he definitely made me survive this engagement. So I go head on, I shoot all my missiles off, F-16 crashes into the ground. One of the missiles actually catches the other guy in the head on, and the F-14 gets absolutely slammed by the Su-27. As you can see, it's still pretty damn good at dealing with multiple people at the same time, and this right here is truly no exception. First we go engage the MiG-23, we dome him right in the ear, 27mm, kind of tears your brain apart, and then we kind of disengage, get a little bit of speed, make sure that we keep these guys energy trapped, and that I come in from an advantageous angle. The Su-27 is going pretty slow here, so I end up slotting in behind him because he's the first guy on the 6 of the guy in front of us. So after killing him, we can simply engage the Su-27, and just like that we very easily win a 3v1 in like 12 seconds, and that's just because this plane is so damn good. Come out of the clouds, F-14 has no idea I'm there because I don't even have any radar on, so he's not looking behind him. Catches the AIM-9M directly in the back of his plane, he gets set on fire and he ends up eating shit. So after killing him, we fly towards the middle of the map, Mackerel gets a kill, and we start engaging the pack here. And I'm coming in from a weird angle again. I'm trying to engage as many people as possible, and I'm just trying to stay as relevant and kill as many as quickly as I can. F-14 is in front of me, but he's flaring quite a bit. He stops flaring for a little bit, hoping that I can launch the missile off. Shoot 2 missiles. Probably shouldn't have had to missile the F4S. End up only getting a hit, which is kind of unlucky. Both of them get scot-free, and I just wasted 2 missiles that I could have definitely used, because, well, this game is kind of going tits up, as you can see by the scoreboard. We aren't looking very hot right now, which is why I open it a second time to actually make sure that I just saw that correctly. What are we gonna do about this? The issue here is that my squad mate Mackerel is also out of countermeasures, so instead of trying to engage this pack, I'm gonna try to defend him. So I'm gonna fly behind him, drop my flares, and hope that I can get the F-14 to engage me, and he does exactly that. Which is perfect, because now I actually have the ability to make sure that Mackerel stays alive. He then dodges a missile without any countermeasures by going low. Luckily it wasn't an AIM-9L. He then goes into a dogfight, and then I can go and help him out. I'm gonna shoot a missile just to make sure that he either panics or that he dies as quickly as possible, because I want Mackerel to be able to get out of here. Missile comes in, rear aspect, cold shot with an AIM-7. I drop a lot of chaff. Mackerel dodges another missile. I go sideways, and I'm just gonna go instantly for the reversal. I'm gonna slow down a little bit, cut afterburner. And this guy, he needs to fold those wings out quicker, otherwise he's gonna eat shit in approximately 1 second. Down he goes, and Mackerel can now safely RTB. What is left in the enemy team? I don't really know. I'm getting locked by a MiG-29. I don't know if he's high or low, so I'm gonna use this terrain in front of me for a second to see when the lock breaks. You can tell lock breaks, I then go slowly up, and the lock re-engages me once I get above this massive mountain. So from that I can determine that he is pretty low. I'm only getting 1 radar signature, so I'm hoping that he's alone. And it doesn't really matter because I don't have that much fuel left, so I just want to take this fight as quickly as possible. Because I don't want this to turn into a 2v1. It's an Su-27, so I already know that I have an absolute free kill on my hands. Because as I said in my previous videos, if you pre-flare its missiles and you stay low to the ground, or if you know how to notch, for example, the plane is absolutely worthless, and we are just gonna instantly shit in his mouth. This thing can't really do anything against us, and it's actually kinda laughable. It's good if it's a hectic match. The second people actually notice that you're there, you're not gonna get much done. We then merge with a MiG-23 MLD, and it's the most maneuverable one. And honestly, this thing is more scary than the Su-27 is. The MiG-23 is trying to keep its speed by doing a super wide loop, because people in comment sections and as well as on Reddit think that maintaining your speed is the way to living in top tier, I have news for you, it doesn't work half the time, because then people just instantly get position, and once people get position, you get a missile shoved directly up your bumhole. The MiG-23 is no exception, except he actually flares it with a singular missile. We already see where this is going. He sacrificed all his position, he is not gonna go anywhere. Turn on the radar gun sight, because I can't aim, and down he goes. And then the last guy manages to fail the takeoff for 2 minutes, and he loses the game because he was on the ground for too long. Let's take a look at some more massive dogfights, because that's what this thing is kind of good at. I again come into the furball. The team is not looking as rough as it was the last game, but we are not really looking at winner's POV either. It's kind of everyone died out already, and it's like 8v8 I think it is. A lot of MiG-23s, we have an F-15 coming in. I mean, just stay low to the deck, pre-flare is AIM-9M, and he won't really do anything to us. Another MiG-23 on our 6, one in front of us. We are completely surrounded by these... I forgot I can't say that word anymore because I'm gonna get demonetized, but it kind of sounds like counts, like counting your money. And a lot of you guys can do that as well, because, well, I saw with the sales that a lot of you have been buying the thing. Be careful with that plane, it's not very noob friendly, and that is probably also why I'm getting such free matches right now. MiG-23 in front of us doesn't even see me, doesn't flare, doesn't dodge, doesn't do anything, flies straight, is slow, ends up eating it directly in the middle of his plane. Another MiG-23 coming in, another MiG-23 coming in, and I just want to kind of keep my speed around Mach 1, navigate myself around and see when I can do something. And then another Gripen appears. So who do I engage first? Well, the MiG-23 in front of us is basically a secure kill. Kill him. He is not going to be dodging that. And then I will extend for the second guy. He's flying away to the airfield right now. But I want to make sure that he doesn't actually turn around a little bit later, so I can actually start engaging the Gripen together with the other MiG-23. These things are absolutely everywhere, and it's kind of hilarious, but sad at the same time that they have to deal with me when I'm flying the Gripen. Go head on with 2 of them at the same time, so I can kind of just dodge them, well, simultaneously. And then I can choose one to dogfight, and it's obviously going to be the Gripen. And as I start doing that, the MiG-23 is also flying away from us, which is great, because now I can actually put all my undivided attention directly on this guy over here. He is not turning back, he is not doing a feint, and at this point the Gripen is crit. I'm on a 6 and I'm relatively low fuel, so there is very little this guy is gonna be doing. We hit him some more, we set him on fire, back to the hangar he goes. And then for the last game we have a bit of a, well, I can't really call it a 3v1, but it's more of a 2v2, but once you see it, you'll understand the reference. We are just kind of scouring the map. We are still at the start here, and I'm gonna pick up over this hill and make sure that this Gripen doesn't make it very far into the game. He's not paying attention to us, he is engaging someone else, and just like that, he gets a ticket right back to the hangar. Then we get over another hill, and this FRS is bombing. He is not really a threat, but I just want to show you how I got into the position that we have before us, which is the main meat of the gameplay. We have an F4E, we have a MiG-29, we have a JAS141, and we have an F-16, and we are basically alone. So we engage the F4E, not really a threat. We then turn into the MiG-29. I'm gonna try to make him lose as much speed as possible, but I notice it's not an SMT and is not German, so he does not have R73s, just R60s, but it doesn't matter because the F-16C luckily has my back. Now I want to make sure that this guy does not get the ability to shoot AIM-9Ms at me, and as I'm engaging the F-16, the JAS141 and the F4E are across the map, or at least 10 kilometers away, and they are engaging someone else, so I know I have a little bit of room here to start engaging this guy. So I shoot a missile in the head-on. We get no sauce for the pizza, but he lost so much position that I get on the 6, and I can assure you, he is not gonna be dodging that one, no matter how many flares he spams. He is simply going way too slow. Now the JAS141 and the F4E start coming in, and there's a reason this is all the way at the end of the gameplay, because it's not so much about the matchup right here, because this is a matchup that I realistically should win, but it's important to pick your targets properly, because you can still run out of energy when they actually do their loops a little bit right. Now I was expecting that to hit, unfortunately it did not, so I now need to disengage. The JAS141 is very strong when it comes to turning inside of you, so I'm simply going to disengage and see if they have any missiles left, and I want them to shoot off as many as they can. I still have about 120 flares left, which is more than sufficient, and I'm kind of just gonna ignore the F4E and put my attention on the JAS39C. And I'm gonna try to keep turning into the same direction. I'm trying to keep these two guys basically next to each other so that I can't really be attacked by one of them. Because if I'm on the 6 of one, I will be on the 6 of both. So the F4E is actually outrating the JAS39C at this point. But the JAS39C is gonna turn inside of him because he just has that absolute VTOL engine. So I just go up and over, he's out of energy, he starts hovering in the middle of the battlefield here, and I want to be careful that he doesn't have a missile left like the R27 ER, ET, or maybe an R27T, just a regular one. So I'm just gonna fly up here, and this was actually kind of sussy because he might just radar gunsight me. Luckily he is not actually locking onto me right now. I'm trying to chaff as much as possible. I'm pre-flaring, I'm trying to get a little bit of separation here so that he can't just missile me out of the air. And at this point I'm safe. I'm gonna dive in, I'm gonna get a little bit of speed. He will get it back a lot quicker than us, however I'm already going a lot faster. So I'm just trying to bank a bit of speed. And then once he starts getting closer to us, I will start dogfighting him. Now I notice that he's going a bit faster than expected. But he's still not going that fast. And I can kind of just put it into a corkscrew. If he wants to go VTOL yet again, he is not gonna get very far. I pass out because I'm hammering the elevator too hard. But it doesn't matter because this guy is role-playing like a hot air balloon and I am an F-22. And at this point, I mean, he is basically stationary in the air. I do want to be careful that he doesn't like VTOL spin blade me out of the air. But he doesn't have an HMD or R73, so I am relatively safe. And that's all. Thank you all for watching and you'll see me in the next one.